Hello to all 0 of my followers. Watch me make chocolate covered strawberries for the second time in my whole life. So I start off with some white vinegar and I rinse my strawberries thoroughly to make sure that they don't have any dirt on them or any mold as well. Then I rinse them under some water to make sure they're clean. I dry them using some paper towel, making sure that they're fully dry because otherwise the chocolate won't stick properly to my strawberries. Then I also leave them out to dry on some paper towel for about half an hour to get them to room temperature as well and ready for dipping. I grab my 6-inch cocktail sticks and I use them to stick into the soft part of my strawberry so that I can have better control over them when I dip them fully and when I decorate them with my chocolate too. So you can see here I have put a cocktail stick in each of my strawberries. I'm using the Cadbury's baking melts first, never used them before, so I put them into the microwave in 30-second intervals in my cup, making sure it doesn't burn and making sure I get a smooth, runny consistency at the end. So dipping my strawberries, first of all, I wanted to make sure that my leaves are out of the way, so I sort of brush them upwards and hold them and my cocktail stick before I dip into my cup. This is the first time that I've used a cup like this before, and I found it a lot easier than a bowl which I've used for my first time because it was a lot deeper and I could cover more of the strawberry effectively. So I shook the strawberry, making sure that there's a nice thin even layer of chocolate, and then I wiped it on the side of my cup as well to make sure that it doesn't drip when I put it on the baking paper. For a first attempt, I thought that this was pretty good. Just hold that thought though for my second one because this is how it turned out. I think I pulled the leaves too hard. Just try not to do this when you're doing it, I guess. So second of all, I tried some of the Nestle baking melts because I wanted to see how this consistency was different to the Cadbury's one. Did the same thing, held up the leaves, dipped them fully into the chocolate, but I was using a bowl this time because I don't have another one of the cups. Shake, and then I also wiped these on the side of my bowl and left them to dry as well. This chocolate was drying a little bit faster than the Cadbury's, very fast actually, which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing depending on what you're after. Dried a little bit too fast for me, and then this strawberry turned out clumpy and ugly, but that's okay. I will eat that one later. So for decorating, this is actually my first time using a piping bag to decorate, so I wanted to see how I would go. First of all, I covered the backs of all of my strawberries to make sure that they weren't open because otherwise they would sweat when I put them in the fridge. Thought I'd try first on my ugly strawberry because I've never done this before, and clearly I'm not really good at this, but I figured if I practiced, I would get better as I went along. For my next strawberry, I did my lines on the baking paper first, and this was definitely a better strategy to get those even lines on the top of my strawberry. I think I got better, but some strawberries were still pretty bad, and some were more even as I went through. A little bit inconsistent, but like I said, with practice, I should get better. By the time I got onto my milk chocolate strawberries, my strategy was pretty good, and this was probably my favorite strawberry. I was really proud of this one. For next time, I would just suggest that I took my chocolate all the way to the edge of my strawberries, and then they would be even more perfect. So I left my strawberries for about half an hour, and then I took them off the cocktail sticks. My white chocolate was fully dry, but my milk chocolate strawberries were actually still wet, which is weird, but I'm impatient, so I took them off anyway and just put them on my plate. They're just for me, I'm not selling them, and they still looked really pretty. So here's my final strawberries. I was pretty proud of them, even though they're not perfect. I'll get better with practice. I even did a slice test to check and see if I had a thin, even layer. Almost sliced my nail in the process, but I was so proud of how they turned out. Follow my page if you want to see more videos, and thanks for your support.